Hey everybody, it's Kelby with Fire Through Fog. I wanted to take the time to thank you personally for giving us your time to listen to these episodes and supporting us. And if you want to support us any other way, you can go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Fire Through Fog, where there's some other posts and all the episodes get posted there. So if you want to help out, spread this as far and as wide as possible, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, thank you for listening to our episodes, and I hope you enjoyed today's. All right, everybody, it's Kelby here again with Fire Through Fog, and we have my brother Drew with us tonight co-hosting. Uke has some personal things to deal with tonight, so we had to find a replacement for him just for tonight.
I don't have a personal life, so that's why I'm here. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And tonight our guest, we have Tiffany York. How you doing tonight, Tiffany?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. So you and we served together in the Air Force. You're currently still serving. I am not. And we were down in Charleston for 7 years? You're still there.
Yeah, you're
still
there for a while. I'm still down here.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years going strong.
And nothing coming down the pipe soon?
I was supposed to go to New Mexico, but that got canceled.
Really?
I think that was lucky. Yeah.
Was that because of the whole process you were going through?
Yeah, with the kiddos. Yeah.
And if you don't mind, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So, about 4.5 years ago, became a foster parent to a sibling group of 4. Never imagined I would ever have that many children in my life. Some things happened, and then 3.5 years went by. I adopted 4, and I am still fighting for the 5th one. She's just turned 3 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're same mom, different dads.
So it's the 4.
Yeah.
I think I only met 3, right?
You met 4.
I met all 4, the 4 you have now.
Mm-hmm. You met the first 4, but you didn't meet their little sister that I got.
Okay.
I got her when she was like 8 months old.
And they all have the same mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, fostering is a different ball game that I respect anybody that doesn't. Actually, the co-host, Uke, we usually have on here, he actually does fostering, so I kind of told him your story and everything. So it kind of stinks that you couldn't talk to him tonight, but maybe in the future.
Maybe.
I don't know what you guys want to call it. Adopting, obviously, but helping out some kids in that route. So hoping and praying for that, because that's always the best, is getting them in that situation, the right situation, right?
Yeah, you want to give them their forever home so they can start to live that normal life, and they really can't do that as a foster kid because there's so many rules. Yeah. You can't even get their hair cut without asking a biological parent, which is crazy.
Because it was Max, right? Max was the older boy that you could not. His hair was so long. I remember.
Yeah, I had him for a good almost 5 months before I was able to cut his hair.
Wow.
And he was 4, and he had never had a freaking haircut. So
yeah, it was getting
quite
shaggy.
Long.
Yeah. So with the situation that we're wanting to talk to with you tonight about, did you have them during this? I don't remember 100%. You started the process after.
The situation is my house.
Yes.
Burning down. That happened in August 29th, 2014. And I got the kids in 2017. But yeah, August 29th, 2014.
A date you'll probably never forget.
Yeah, no, I will never forget it.
Yeah, just walk us through it.
Alrighty. Well, it was a family day. It was a Friday. We were off of work for Labor Day weekend. I believe that is what it was. And I had actually planned on going fishing that weekend. And I woke up at about 5:50 a.m. And in the amount of time it takes a person to rub the sleep out of their eyes, walk to the bathroom, and do their morning pee, I actually started seeing smoke come out of my light fixtures, and I was still kind of groggy, so I rubbed my eyes, like, is this really happening? And this is all happening within a matter of seconds. And I was like, oh man, this is actually smoke. So I opened my bathroom door. About that same time, my dog started howling, and my mom, she came running down the stairs saying the house is on fire. And again, this is all within seconds. The smoke alarms started going completely crazy. And we ran out of the house. It was me, my mom, and my niece, and I had 3 dogs at the time. We did a head count as we're, meeting in our little cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
And all the humans were there, and only 2 of the dogs were there. So I ran back in, which is really foolish, and you should not do that. But I did, and I found my little dog. Tank is his name. He's about 9 pounds of awesome, but his name is Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Standing on my mom's bed upstairs, just paralyzed with fear. He couldn't even move. So I grabbed him, and there's smoke everywhere. So I pushed his face into my armpit and just ran out of the house. Again, and the alarm company was calling me saying, we're getting an alert saying that there's smoke and fire in the house. You need to call 911. I was like, yes, please. That would be great.
Yeah.
I set out on the curb across the street, and I called our flight commander, Colonel Hamblin, and I remember saying, hey, ma'am, and she says, hey, Tiffany, all tired because it's, about 6 o'clock in her morning at this point. And I said, ma'am, my house is on fire. She said, what? I said, yes, ma'am. It's just burning. It's just burning. I was numb. I couldn't show any other real emotion.
Yeah.
I was just, it was weird. And I don't know what she said after that. Because that part is a blur.
Yeah.
But next thing I know is like all of our leadership is showing up. Our flight chief, flight commander, squadron commanders, first sergeants, group staff. I mean, everybody is showing up to this thing. And then finally, the fire department shows up, and they hooked the hose up to their truck, went to spray water onto the house that was fully engulfed in flames, and no water came out because their truck was empty. Oof.
Yeah.
So they unhooked the hoses, and there was a fire hydrant right behind my house. So like if they had gone across my yard through the person's yard that lived behind me, they would have gotten to the fire hydrant. But instead of doing that, they went down the road, around the corner, down the road, and then the hose wasn't long enough.
Mm. Wow.
So they had to call another fire department out to put out the fire. My house burned for approximately 35 minutes before the very first drop of water was even put on it.
At what point, I mean, how long was it burning until the fire department did first show up?
So the very first call to the 911 dispatch was at 5:55, but they did not dispatch fire until 6:02. So dispatch sat on it for 7 minutes before they dispatched fire.
Jeez.
And then it took the fire department about 6 minutes to arrive. So that was already 13 minutes.
That's insane.
Of it burning before they even arrived, and then their truck was empty.
And showing up with empty water.
Yeah.
Well, neither of us have gone through this situation, and I was just wondering what was going through your head while just staring at your house, waiting on the fire trucks, just watching it burn. Like, how do you cope with that?
The thing that was going through my head was, is this really happening? Is this really happening? I was like, is this real? Like, am I really awake?
Right.
And then, there were moments where I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely awake. And then I was just I was angry because I was like, you're the fire department. You've got one job.
Right. Yeah.
And that's to put out fires. How can you do that if your truck is empty? So I was a little angry with the fire department. But mostly I was just, I was looking around. I remember at one point it was almost like life went into slow motion. And I remember looking around and I was thinking, this is really quite terrible. But look at all these people around me doing wonderful things.
Yeah.
One of the neighbors took my niece into her house to give her some water and some breakfast. Because we only got out with the pajamas. It was not even quite 6 o'clock in the morning at that
And
point.
thank God you got out. I mean, you were awake.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Okay, so if they would have showed up with water, would that house been able to be salvaged?
Likely they would have been able to control it a little better.
Yeah,
but whenever it burns for about 35 minutes, it's pretty much a goner because fire spreads. It's what it does.
Yeah, very fast.
Yeah.
And this is summer.
I don't know, fireboxes, they're only tested for that type of heat for 45 minutes. Luckily, my fireboxes withstood all of that because it burned for a couple of hours before they were finally able to put it all out. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I was there at that time, and I remember we were literally moving Palmer into his new house, and Harville calls us and says, hey, Sergeant York's house just got burnt down. And I mean, it's a shocker. I mean, you don't know how to react. You don't know what to say. Like, are you serious? Yeah, it was a crazy time.
Yeah. It was quite crazy. It was. It definitely sucked. There's no way around that. But at the same time, it almost restored my faith in humanity. Because my house burned down completely, 100% lost. There was
you
nothing
lost
really saved.
Everything.
On a Friday, and the med group commander, she got in touch with a friend who put me and my family up in a hotel that Friday night and Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, I was given a house on base that was completely furnished because everyone on base actually donated a bunch of furniture to me. But even the base commander, whenever he came out to my house as it was burning, he said, Tiffany, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I could do? I said, sir, I don't know. I don't know what to do. He said, well, I imagine you need a place to live. I said, yeah, I do. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. He said, would you like to live on base? I said, oh, that would be great. But my mom and my niece, they're not my dependents. They don't have an ID card. They can't get on base. He said, that's not what I asked you. Would you like to live on base? I said, that would be incredible, but I've got 3 dogs and you can only have 2 animals in base housing. Yeah. He said, Tiffany, answer the question. Would you like to live on base? And I said, well, yes, sir. That would be amazing. He goes, well, I know a guy that can make that happen. And then it hit me. I was like, oh yeah, you are the base commander. You kind of do have that power that you could make that happen. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm tracking what you're saying now. I said, yes, sir. That would be great. He said, you want to live on the air base? I said, yes. If you could make it happen, he said, I can send an email. We'll make it happen. Wow. And he did.
That's awesome.
Like, wow. Wow. Okay.
That is one of the biggest things that I do miss of the military. Like just that's your family, period. I mean, everybody's got your back.
Yeah.
So that's something that you that day saw right then and there, and your house is burning down right in front of you.
Like I said, it in a weird way, it restored my faith in humanity because all the people coming together and, people in my neighborhood I had never even met, they were just coming out and just throwing their arms around us, asking, what can we do to help you? Offering food, offering clothes, shoes, because we didn't even have shoes.
I remember
the tow truck driver came and towed my cars away from the fire. He didn't charge anything. Our flight commander, she got me a new key made because, fun fact, when your house burns down, you don't think to grab anything. Your focus is to get you and your family out of there, so you're not going to grab anything, not even your keys or your wallet or purse. And those car keys are very expensive to make, but she paid for that.
Wow.
And Mazda cut her a deal. Good person.
Yeah.
A lot of people just, and then there was a girl in our flight. I don't know if you remember, she did a GoFundMe site for me.
Mm-hmm.
And she raised some money for me. And then you and Jake and Dave coming over a few days later and trying to sift through the ashes and try to find stuff. You even hurt your leg.
Yeah, I fell through the floor.
Yeah, you fell through one of the boards and got a pretty nice cut on your thigh.
Yeah, and I had to go. Yeah, I had to go to my house with Jake, and he's sitting there. I'm sitting on the floor with my legs spread out, and Jake's in between my legs trying to patch up this cut. Yeah. And Leah comes walking in like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, yeah, that was. But I mean, this kind of circles back to it restored my faith in humanity. I mean, you did that, getting my important papers out of a box that didn't burn completely.
And I mean,
you found my truck key that I thought was lost, but you found it in like several inches of ash. But people willing to help. I mean, whenever bad things happen, there are good people in the world that'll come and help you. And you have to have that social group, your social connectedness, very, very important.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, you were someone that had no issue with that. I mean, everyone knew Sergeant York. We were pretty close, still are. So it was a good time. Obviously not that moment in your life. And I've been waiting for this episode because I'm just sitting here like fire through fog, and it's kind of touchy talking to someone who had their house burned down by fire. But in this instance, you had to be a fire personally through a foggy time in your life. The fog is actually the fire, your house burning down. So I don't know what you call that. Is that an oxymoron or
probably?
I don't know.
A little bit, a little ironic.
Yeah. They got the fire put out and everything. You said it took 35 minutes for them to finally put it out. No, for them to put the first drop of water on it. Okay, it took several hours for it to be put out completely. Wow. So after it's done, what was the next step? I mean, where did you go from there? After it was done, the next step was the American Red Cross. They showed up and gave me vouchers for food and clothing. I did not know they did that. They do. Huh. I did not know that either, but they do. They had Red Cross volunteers. There were two of them that came, and I had to sign these papers. And as I'm signing these papers, my hand is shaking so bad because reality is really hitting me. And for the first time since my house burned down, I cried. I cried for about probably 2 minutes. But it was one of those big, ugly cries, Yeah. And then I pulled myself together, and I was like, okay, all right, I've got this. And our commander, she was like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to have feelings about this. And I said, yes, ma'am, I understand. I said, but I'm going into beast mode right now. And she laughed, and we laughed. We had a good laugh about that, but I stayed in beast mode after that. After I had my big ugly cry for 2 minutes, that was all I needed, I guess, to deal with it. And I mean, in that moment, I never even seen 1 ounce of emotion from you about it. All I ever heard from you what was your saying? You said it's what was your saying about how you doing? So many. What's that? I had so many. What was it? How was your day, or how you doing? Or I'm always good. Yes, always good. And that literally you showed it. You didn't just say it, you showed it. So with this this time, it was crazy. Just you were always good with it. even though probably deep down times, or I may have not seen it, you were probably struggling. But
there were some times that it was a lot harder than others. For a good while, anytime I would hear a fire alarm or a fire truck, I would get a little nauseous.
Kind of like PTSD.
I would just freeze, you know.
Right.
you still do that?
PTSD is a real thing.
Yeah.
Not
And
even
it's
just
not-
for war. Yeah.
We've said this before. It's people get that in their head that it's just for combat and that stuff.
No.
But that, I mean, that's a big part of it, and a lot of people deal with that. Yes, but there's probably almost everybody has some kind of PTSD, whether it's minor or anything. I mean, I'm sitting here with my brother, and I don't know if you heard his podcast about his events that happened, and he still has flashbacks and stuff that reminds him.
Yeah.
Do you still get reminded with sirens and stuff? Do you still have those moments?
I think, for the most part, I have shown a lot of post-traumatic growth, meaning I've grown from the experience, and it doesn't bring me down as much.
Yeah.
It doesn't paralyze me with fear. It doesn't take me back to that moment of watching my house burn down. It is a reminder that, you know, there are good people that
Yeah.
are going to do their job to help somebody, and that's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. I will oftentimes, whenever I hear a fire alarm or a fire truck, I'll say a little prayer, because I want whoever they're going to make it through. I want them to find strength in whatever's going on
Definitely.
to make it through. And that's really, you know, what I do.
That's cool.
Just pray for those people now
So what about
instead of let it drop
Yeah.
me to my knees.
Yeah.
You don't know how strong you are until you're hit with some adversity. So
Oh,
that's
for sure. I mean, I just seen the saying, and I mean, I'm trying to use it if it's nothing like crazy, but obstacles are opportunities for growth.
Yes,
So-
I like that. That's really good.
I'm not sure if it's a quote. I'm not trying to take it from anybody if it is, but
I like that.
I
though.
seen
That's a good one. I had to hear that one.
yeah, I heard obstacles create opportunities or something like that, but then I thought, well, obstacles are opportunities for growth. So we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I like
But
it.
still, I mean,
like
I don't know who said it, but if there is, I'll put your name on it. Don't get mad at me.
Whoever said it was very wise.
Yes, because it is. I mean, from a very first episode with Jacob getting hit by a car, his firm belief is that you have to suffer in life to be able to grow and advance in your life. And ever since then, I'm like, man, that's a great episode to start with.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good opener. I'll say.
yeah.
And all of them have been pretty great. I enjoy it.
I
do.
appreciate it.
Right. I mean, so, like we say, some people have to suffer. You don't want people to suffer, obviously. Seeing your house burn down is just that's a horrible, horrible thing. But I'm sure you grew from that. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm like seeing your house burn down is probably one of the hardest parts. But how was it going through all of your stuff? The few days later, just seeing your stuff burnt, like with Kelby, and like just trying to find anything that was left of value. How did you cope with that?
I think, I mean, Kelby, he was there for a lot of it. Something as small as, my truck key.
Right.
That was really exciting. Everything else, knowing, okay, it used to be right here. I think we celebrated those little victories, I think, is mostly what we did.
Isn't that kind of crazy? Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
isn't
you're
that
good.
kind of crazy that, like, I just caught something from what you said? That was basically kind of a rock bottom moment for you, and everybody's like, I hit my rock bottom. The only way is up from here, and just us finding that truck key was like it was that step on that next ladder going up out of that hole. Hitting the rock bottom. It's kind of cool. That's a little tidbit I just took from that. So
Yeah.
And what I said for my podcast is that it's sad when people do hit their rock bottom, because everyone, I mean, I think everyone does, but there's people out there that they just can't crawl out of their rock bottom. They're stuck. They don't take help from anyone. And it's awesome that you had all of these people surrounding you and there for you through the toughest times of your life, through your rock bottom, basically.
Yeah. No, I thank God all the time for the people that are in my life that, you know, stopped everything they were doing to come help little old me. Who am I?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people are good. Most people are good. Most people want to help. Most people don't want to see anybody suffering. And I can honestly say, you know, through all of this, I never once said, why did this have to happen to me? I never said that, because I'm pretty sure I know why it did happen to me. I think if it had to have happened to anybody, that, you know, God put it on somebody that had a good social network and was strong enough to experience growth from it. Because like you were saying, some people, they're not able to get out from their rock bottom. Some people, this would have brought them to their knees and it would have kept them there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They would not have been able to bounce back from this or move forward from this. So I'm a big believer in God will only give you as much as you can handle.
No,
he'll let you in. He'll see how flexible
there it is.
you
There
are.
it is. There it is.
But he won't let you cave.
I was waiting for it. I was going to say, I've got another nugget from old Sergeant York. God will make you bend, but he won't make you break. I will never forget that. And that was from you.
Yeah.
So I've said that to many people and they probably get sick of hearing it. But,
but it's true.
Yeah, it is.
True.
I mean, it's crazy because it's another thing that I will say to any, it's going to come up in every podcast now, is you cannot do life without people, period.
No.
So you might as well just give in. If you're, swallow your pride, put down your brick wall, whatever it is. I don't care how mad you are, how bad you hate the world. You have got to reach out and you have got to surround yourself with good people.
The people that came, like I said, some of those people I had never talked to.
Really?
Some of those people, you know, I didn't really know much about, like our squadron commander, his little boy. I don't remember if I told you this or not, but his little boy showed up with his mom because she was a key spouse that actually brought us some food that night. He had been saving up his allowance to buy a video game that he had desperately been wanting. Mm-hmm. He said, Mom, Dad, I want to give this to the family whose house burnt down. And they said, Buddy, are you sure this is the money you've been saving? He said, I've been saving it, but they don't have anything.
Wow. That's amazing.
And he was, oh gosh, I want to say he was maybe 10 years old.
Wow.
Like even a 10-year-old was that willing.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people are good.
Oh yeah.
From that young boy all the way up. I mean,
yeah,
I was incredibly blessed to have all those people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah, I mean, all ages, ethnicities, everything. I mean, you've seen that, especially in the military. You've seen that, and it's whatever they put out there. I don't care. I'm not trying to get into that. It's just there's good people out there. A majority of people are good. I'd say all people are good if they go down, if they make the right decisions and whatnot. But I guess some people would say, hey, we need some of those bad people in this world to balance it out. But hey.
Something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's the bad people that make those good people look so good. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know.
I think most people are good.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because Drew brought it up about going through your stuff, trying to find it and everything. So you said you kind of it's faded away of the sirens and stuff, the PTSD coming from that. But what about stuff that you had in that house that was gone now, but down the road it's been since 2014, which is crazy. Like that, I can't believe that. Are there things that you're like, oh crap, that was in the other house? Because you had that, you also had that saying, I'm pretty sure I remember. It's like, yeah, the other house. That
actually still happens. I'll be looking everywhere for something. I'll be looking all over the place. I'm like, I know I had this. Where is it? Where is it? I'll tear the house apart looking for it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that was at that other house.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, dang. Huh. Oh well, I guess I'm not going to find it. And then I just move on.
So are there
I've
moments?
had a lot of growth from this. I have.
I wonder if
It
that's
took a
something.
little time, but yeah, I would be lying if I said I'm all better, because I'm not afraid of fire, but I respect fire and what it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, this fire here is positive, so
Yeah.
we got to build ourselves. Because I mean, I don't know how to foot stomp it or anything with how the person you are for people listening, but you're one of the most resilient, fun, caring, loving people I've ever been around. We had a very good relationship, and it's just it was cool. Like, it's crazy. Some of the people I've had on here, all of them have been just resilient as all get out. And I don't know if I'm just catching them on the moment that they're just hitting that time, or it's just that's who they are. Because like you said, there's so much good people out there, and just the recovery of some people, it's crazy. I mean, it's hard to have this conversation with someone who I never see hurt, basically is what I'm saying. Like, I never seen any negative from you, I feel like. I mean, there was moments. There was moments, but
yeah.
those were good times that we could talk with each other about. And we'd vent to each other.
Yeah.
I've heard good things from Kelby. Obviously, I've never met you. But just hearing when you talk about it, how positive you are, is just what, for the people listening that may have had their house burned down or something tragic, how did you stay as positive as you were through this whole experience? Just, that's a rock bottom, losing your house. That's terrible. Like, how do you stay positive through all that?
Knowing that most people are good, and seeing everyone come together, and knowing that even though it happened, I was going to be okay. In that moment, I was not okay. Like, physically, I was okay, but mentally and emotionally, at the time, I wasn't, but I knew that I was going to be eventually. Having that social network, that really, really helped. And my faith really got me through it. My family, my friends. That was.
I mean, speaking about family,
mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, resiliency isn't something you're necessarily born with, but it's something you can learn. And it's one of those things that when you learn those skills, you gotta use those skills to stay on top of your game.
For sure. How was your mom and your niece with the recovery process?
My mom, it took her a little longer. Because crazy thing, her worst nightmare was always her house burning down.
Wow.
Whenever she was a small child, she used to have nightmares about it. So she actually had, whenever she was a little girl, she had like a go bag packed by her bedroom door so she could grab it and run if her house ever caught on fire. She was always terrified of that because she had some relatives when she was younger whose house burned down, and it kind of, left its mark on her. But it took her a little longer. But I think for her, what got her through it was also, her faith in God and friends and family being so supportive and helping out.
And what about your niece?
Elena, she was very young. She was, I want to say 14. She didn't really talk about it too much. So how did she deal with it? I think really just knowing that we were not going to let her go without, and knowing that, we had her.
Yeah.
And we were gonna be okay. Being her rock, again, that social connectedness, the support, I think that really helped her as well.
Yeah. Do you ever see anything from her or hear anything from her?
So she's living with me again.
Okay.
Helping out with the kiddos, and she's good.
Does she?
She's
do you ever see any triggers for her? Or?
Adult now, it's crazy. But yeah, no, she seems all right.
Huh. So I'm just wondering if that's like something
we all grew from it. You have post-traumatic stress, and then you have post-traumatic growth. And I think all of us, yes, we did have PTSD, post-traumatic stress, no doubt. But I think we've also experienced a lot of growth from it, all
Definitely.
of us.
Sounds like it.
And it takes time.
Definitely sounds like
so
it.
So to people, that has had their house burned down, or people that have, lost their belongings to a flood, or, whatever the case, time.
Yeah.
And don't lose faith.
And keep reaching out to people.
Yeah. Keep reaching out to people. Don't be too proud to say, I don't know what to do. I need help.
Right.
They don't need help. They usually say, I'm good. You see that a lot. Pride, embarrassment, everything like that. But you shouldn't be.
No, you definitely
because
shouldn't be.
the moment you do,
don't be too proud.
The moment you do ask for help or reach out, already right then and there, you just have unleashed so much. Right. I felt it myself before. Yeah. Like you've just opened up the floodgates.
Yes, that is so true. When all that was happening, I actually spoke the words, I don't know what I need. I don't know what to do. And like I said, the base commander was like, well, you need a house. Like, well, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. Our flight commander, she was like, well, we got to call your insurance company. I was like, it's USAA. I'm trying to figure out how do I call them. I'm going to have a phone in my hand, but I'm like kind of in shock.
Yeah, absolutely.
all cylinders are not shooting off at the right time and everything. She was like, I got it. I'll call USAA right now for you. I said, okay. And just bam, 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 everything started happening.
That's so awesome. Like, that's
so
cool to think about.
People really made it a little less sucky.
Because you could.
And one of the questions that used to, or not really questions, but one of the things people would say used to really kind of hit a nerve in me was, well, at least you're okay.
Yeah.
It's just stuff. And I wanted so badly to tell those people, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Yes, physically I'm okay. But mentally and emotionally, I'm a wreck.
It's tragic.
And it's not just stuff. There's memories attached to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
There's memories. And, your best pictures are the ones hanging on your wall, right? You lose all of that stuff, and you can't replace that. So I really hated it when people would say that. And I talked to my brother that day, and I remember him saying, he said, Tiffany, I don't know what to say, man. That really effing sucks. And I laughed, and I said, Mike, you don't know how much I needed to hear that.
Yeah. I've learned that, and over time is, I don't know, it's something like that simple saying, oh, at least you're okay. I need someone to be real and just tell me what I need to hear.
Honesty.
Not what you think I need to hear, kind of thing. And
your okay is not my okay, and I am not okay, Yeah.
I mean, it's more like you would rather have that guy come up next to you, or some of the guy at the funeral that cracks a beer or something, like, this sucks. Yeah. Well, kind of just lighten the mood.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, keep it real.
Cool.
Like,
yeah.
And I know for a lot of people, it was they just genuinely didn't know what to say, and they didn't want to say the wrong thing, and unintentionally kind of did say the wrong thing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know that their heart was in the right place. I mean, I didn't like blow up at anybody or anything, but I did think in the back of my mind, please don't say that.
Yeah.
Because mentally, I'm not okay. I am a little bit of a mess right now.
That's crazy.
Moving forward to present day, now that you have all these foster kids and your nieces living with you, which is a huge blessing.
They're her kids now. Heck
yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. That's amazing.
Well, not one of them yet, but they will be there.
One.
Yes.
Right. So
we're working on that one.
Right. What are do you still like every day wake up and be like, okay, I have all these kids in my house now. I have to take precautions. I have to do this. I have to do that. Just to be ready for it. It happened. So you never know what could happen again.
So before you answer that, those were going to lead into my two questions. What could you have done different, and what is something you are doing now to prevent something like this happening again? So yeah, there was
really not much we could have done differently.
You said something about electrical, right? Was there something with the electrical?
They don't know what caused it. They ruled it as undetermined, but they think because of the way that it burned, like the way we described it and everything, They think it was electrical. The reason they couldn't really give it a determination is because, well, all the evidence was burnt
Yeah.
to a pile of ash. They did think that it was electrical. They weren't real sure, but they were pretty sure.
Yeah, I'd say if it's coming from the light,
having our
above the lights.
alarms, smoke detectors, all that. The one thing I would say that I could have done better, and there was this commercial. I can't remember if it was State Farm or Allstate or one of them, but it was this family walking into their burnt house and recording it. And it was basically the take-home messages, you should record or take pictures of all of your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was another issue. I don't know if we've got time to talk about that, but I didn't have enough personal property insurance to cover all of the stuff that I lost. So that was another issue. And that weekend, I told my mom, I said, we really do need to take pictures of all of our stuff and put them on a thumb drive and put them in a fire safety box. She's like, yeah, we do. I said, actually, I think we're going to do that this weekend. And she was like, yeah, we should. And then that happened Friday morning, so we didn't even make it to that weekend. So that was probably one thing we probably could have done a little better is, take pictures and document the personal property that you have and keep it in a fire safety box. Yeah, don't say I'll do it tomorrow because tomorrow may be too late.
And that is a big lesson for everybody to learn right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Foot stomp. Yeah. Take pictures of all your personal property right now. So, man, look at that. You could be saving how far we go with this. It's going to go far.
Yeah.
So
confidence.
You will have plenty of people right there that could be like, oh, man, that's a grand idea. Let's go do that right now.
Yeah,
because it's simple. Yeah, it'll take a little time, but, I mean, it's genius.
People's houses, they burn down. I mean, it happens.
They do.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
I mean, it seems like it's out of a movie, especially if you live in it. But it happens, and people just don't realize that it could happen at any time, anywhere. So.
Yeah.
On to that next question.
Very true.
You said making sure so what have you done different? Anything specific? Have you done that with the new house, taking pictures and everything?
We do have our stuff better documented, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And one of the things as a foster parent, we get inspected quite frequently.
Yeah.
Home studies, home inspections, unannounced, all this stuff. One of the things that you have to do as a foster parent is you have to have documentation of fire drills.
Mm-hmm.
You have to document the weather. You have to have a fire escape route in your house, like on the first and second floor, and go over it with your children. They have to know how to get out and what to do if there's a fire. So that's one thing that we're doing. Not a bad thing, but we're doing it because we're made to, but we'll probably continue even after we've adopted her. So that's something that we're doing that way. Nobody gets left behind, to include animals.
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
Running back in was very stupid.
Right.
Very, very stupid.
That's a good lesson for everyone. I mean, even if you don't have foster kids.
That was dumb, but
that's.
I was lucky. I was very lucky. A lot of people are like, man, you've got some bad luck, and I said, do I? I like to think that I have good luck because my family, my animals, we did make it out.
Mm-hmm.
We are alive. And while we're not all right, we're going to be. We're going to get there.
For sure.
So I do feel that we're pretty lucky.
If you still have breath, you're good. And you still have faith. It's the biggest thing.
Right. I mean, stuff happened to me earlier this year, like on my podcast I've been talking about, and a lot. But everyone's like, "Man, you're really unlucky. This happens." And I'm like, I joked about it, like, yeah, I'm pretty unlucky, but the people that I had to back me up and like, I am very lucky that I am alive and that I'm well, and I have so much support. So
so you guys are saying that stuff. Going back to what you said, Tiffany, about God will make you bend and not break. you guys are just talking about these people are saying, "Hey, you guys are lucky, this and that." But what if it would have happened to one of them?
Right.
How would they have reacted to this? Do you think someone could have? Could you think some of these people that are telling you you're lucky and good thing you're out? Do you think they could have dealt with this situation differently? I mean, not to down talk anybody or anything like that, but it just goes back to that saying, maybe this did happen to me for a reason because he knows I can handle it.
God had a plan for us.
Yeah.
You know.
I do believe God had a plan for me. My house that burned down was a much, much smaller house. There would have been no way I would have been able to become a foster parent to 4 children all at once. It happened overnight. So me losing that house allowed me to get a bigger house, which is what made it so I could take all of those little people in all at once. So I think that was kind of, making meaning out of this.
Yeah.
If my house didn't burn down in 2014, I could have lost it in 2015 because that was the year of the 100-year flood.
Oh,
and that area flooded really bad, and I didn't have flood insurance.
Oh boy.
So I could have lost everything that way. But if maybe if the flood didn't take it, I wouldn't have been able to adopt all these kids because I never would have met them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Had my house not burned down. So, you finding meaning
Right.
in everything that happens.
You don't want to say that it's a blessing that your house was burnt down, but you can kind of think it is, like you're saying, like you got a new house, you have the option to adopt and you have foster kids come in. So I don't know, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Definitely.
You may not understand it at that time.
And you may be really frustrated and angry. And
But he has a plan. He's only going to give you what you can handle. He'll let you bend.
Won't let
and
you
may feel like he thinks you're really freaking flexible.
Didn't stretch today, guy.
He's not going to let you break. So to answer your questions, I think others would have been able to handle it. Well, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Would have
God
taken
knows
longer.
what they can handle, and he's only going to give them what they can.
Yeah, but some of these people don't have the support system that you had. So, and that is, again, why we are trying to build this network. So, and getting these stories out there, hearing that, hey, Tiffany, I heard her episode the other day. Man, she made it through this. Why can't we? I mean, this sucks, obviously, but there's someone out there that got through it, and hearing her talk about it the way she does now, we're good. What has been the most rewarding thing out of this?
The most rewarding thing I would have to honestly say, I get to tuck 5 little kids in at night, every night. That is very rewarding. And like I said, that would not have happened had I stayed in that house because it was just too small. It was the first home I'd ever bought. I wasn't, thinking I would ever have a family this big, but it's very rewarding to get to tuck them in every single night, knowing they're safe. They've got a good life. They're never going to have to go back to their dark place.
Right.
They're okay. So that's pretty rewarding for me.
That's awesome.
Is looking at them and knowing that I'm doing right by them. I'm giving them a good life. That's very, very rewarding for me.
That's awesome.
That wouldn't have otherwise happened had the house not burned.
Right.
Which I don't recommend, anybody losing their house to a fire just so they can
don't go burn down your house.
Because that is not the message I'm trying to send here.
And that house is, like you said, that's something you bought. That was your house, and that's hard to see that go down, and then have a good attitude after that. That's really difficult to do.
And all the memories.
Right.
Yeah. It was a challenge. People being there and doing good made a really crappy situation a little less crappy.
Yeah. So you basically just answered my next question is what have you learned about others and what have you learned about yourself?
I have learned that I am stronger than even I knew.
Yeah.
Strength doesn't come whenever everything is sunshine and rainbows. whenever you are dealt some pretty rough challenges, that's when you really see what you're made out of.
See, this is all molding together right now. Strength, like you said, strength. And it's like strength comes from suffering, it seems. You discover, and I wouldn't say rediscover, but you discover this strength that you have that you never knew. So it's like, it's almost like suffering uncovers strength. So I don't know, there's something with that right there, and I really like it.
I mean, if you had asked me, 7 years ago or 8 years ago, however many, a long time ago, would I ever be able to handle a house burning down? I'd probably be like, probably not.
Yeah.
That would really suck.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
Made it through.
That's a cool way to think about it, is just asking like, hey, would you have made it through this 10 years ago, asking you that? Heck no, like that sucks. I wouldn't want to do that. But now, I mean, you've done it. Sucks.
Could I do it again? I don't know.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not.
I don't know. I don't ever want to find that answer out. Because it sucked.
Yeah,
it really did.
I'm sure. I couldn't even imagine.
It was rough. It was really, really bad. And another thing to the whole, what have I done different? I made sure that I have a lot more personal property insurance now. Yeah. A lot more, probably more than I'll ever use, but that's okay. At least it's there.
Right. There you go. That's good.
That was another thing.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't enough. I was actually short the personal property insurance by probably about $50,000.
Wow.
Because I didn't think some things as personal property. I was thinking your clothes, furniture, cool, yeah, that's personal. But I wasn't thinking the refrigerator, that's personal property. The oven, the microwave. Like, oh yeah,
every little thing
counts.
was
and
yours.
Those are high ticket items. Yeah, that counts against you.
Yeah, take note, everybody. Yes, take note. Everybody's gonna go. Learn. Insurance companies are about to get blown up.
So I definitely made sure I have a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And I hope and pray that I never have to use it, but at least it's there just in case.
That's good. So going into my final question to you, if you want to add anything, go ahead. Drew, if you have another question, go ahead before I ask this last question.
No, you go right ahead.
Tiffany, you got anything?
No.
All right. So we broke down FIRE into an acronym. You know acronyms. I know acronyms. So FIRE is, the F is for fitness and health. I is intelligence. R is resilience. E is efficiency. Having those in front of you, not really in front of you, but thinking of them, and I'll say them again, it's F is for fitness and health, intelligence, resilience, and efficiency. What does it mean to you being a FIRE through a foggy time in your life?
What does it mean to me?
Tough question, putting you on the spot.
You are.
I mean, so
it means to me that you're really resilient. You're stronger than even you know.
Yeah. You
realize how strong you are whenever you're faced with adversity, and it happens to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be all right in that moment, but eventually you will be.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what it means to me.
What are some things with your fitness, health, intelligence, resilience, efficiency do you think you could suggest or have a resource for people to go to help them build their FIRE, their internal FIRE, to get through times like this?
Well, I mean, your podcast is actually really good for that.
I appreciate it.
Hearing people's stories of making it through some really rough time.
Yeah.
That gives people hope. Another resource is always, faith. And if you're not a religious person, faith in people.
Yeah. That's good.
And if you're in the military, there's so many resources for military.
Yeah.
I could talk for hours about that, but I won't.
Another day, part two.
But yeah, there's faith in people, even if you're not a religious person. If you are somebody that, everybody has different beliefs. Some people may not believe in God, and that's on them. And if that's how they feel, believe in something.
Yeah.
Something has to give you hope. So have faith in whatever that is that gives you hope.
For sure. That's good stuff. I mean, just yesterday I had a moment of just being down, like I told you when we were texting back and forth. I sat there, and how it got me out of it is this podcast. I've sat there and told myself, well, hey, Jacob got hit by a car. What do I got to complain about? What do I got to be upset about? AJ has leukemia, still dealing with it. The person I'm talking with tomorrow, Tiffany, her house burnt down. I mean, these stories are already helping me and changing me and my outlook, and I'm just hoping that other people, this can leave a mark in their head and their hearts like it has done for me, and they can sit there and when they're down and feeling sorry for themselves one day and just be like, oh, shoot, I just listened to that, and they have it much worse than me.
I think, my okay may not be someone else's okay.
For sure.
Maybe if they listen to enough of these podcasts, they'll see, hey, I have something in common with that person.
Definitely.
And, if anybody listening has anything in common with me, they want to reach out to me, do it.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up with anyone you need to. I mean,
yeah, I'll be more than happy to sit and talk with you. FaceTime, email, whatever. If anybody says, hey, I can relate to you, I want to talk, want to pick your brain or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
That was another one. There's the other nugget. Don't threaten her with a good time. I mean, everybody's got their own story. Drew had his own story. People may not be able to talk to me or listen to me over and over, but that's why I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for you to listen to me. I want these stories out. If you're going through something like this, you may resonate with one person or another, and you may have the similar story that they have. So this is your story. Building the network, just building as many people as we got with similar stories, different stories, whatever, a wide variety of stuff, so we can build this ultimate network of just helping one another, be good people together, and just get people through tough times. Build someone else's fire off of our fire and help them get through it.
Yep.
So, if you don't have anything else to add, I want to thank you for your time. This was a great conversation. And it was cool to hear the story again. I knew a lot of the story, but hearing how long it was, 7 years ago.
That's crazy.
Hearing it 7 years now, it's crazy. So I really appreciate your time. Drew, do you have anything?
Problem. There's a lot of people going through a lot of things right now, and just know that there's always going to be there someone for you. Just please know that.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Tiffany, you got anything?
Don't lose hope.
Perfect.
Even in the bleakest of worlds, there's hope. Don't lose hope.
Right. Oh, for sure. If you're still breathing, still kicking.
Exactly.
Don't lose hope or faith.
Find faith in something and keep it. Whatever keeps you going every day, have faith in it.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your time. And you guys have a great night.
Appreciate you having me.
You too.
Of course.
Nice to meet you, Drew.
Yes, you too.